Perfect. Here we are. Nice storm. And yeah, great. I'm definitely like at a 4 out of 10 and probably recovering from something. And after a very intense weekend, Natasha has knowing eyebrows, and Norman's also here in the property. And Beth and I were just checking in before getting on here. I'm still, yeah, wondering what to do, how to be about being in a relatively low resource state. And I'm wondering what you do when you like are more sick or something or don't feel great. I felt awesome after doing combo for like 3 days, but then it's probably just communicable sicknesses from
Me,
having many people come in together.
me personally, when I feel still sick, I probably don't go on Zoom calls.
You don't go on Zoom when you're sick. Because Zoom's the perfect. How do you get your social needs met?
Oh, like when I feel sick, I think my health needs outweigh my social needs. I'm just like I need to get better.
Oh, I guess I get health up points through being on Zoom for me. When so Corey, I was interested too in like your stance towards this.
I take care of my physicality. I don't have social needs. I have there's when I'm
And
sick, it's like I'm going to bed. Social needs, that's a weird one.
Right, you're self-pres, I assume then,
What?
from the Enneagram, self-preservation.
I don't know.
Okay.
I know nothing about the Enneagram. Rian knows a lot about it. Well, at least he writes about it as if he. I don't even know if that's him writing. Hell, that could just be an AI that he's tacking his name to.
Uh-huh.
Alton, do you feel like you're powering through?
Like 20%.
Hmm.
If I was like fully listening to my intuition, I probably would just be laying in the sun.
What makes you not listen to your intuition?
I mean, I'm also listening to a larger part of my intuition that's like, well, do the thing that you said you're going to do and be present here and set context and also be interested in what other people do in the face of feeling under-resourced. When 95% of the time I feel awesome or pretty excellent, feeling somewhat crummy continues to help me build more relatedness with other people who I imagine feel crummy all the time.
I think it's really cute. It's like I feel sick. Oh, I wonder if I can use this for a personal growth moment.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
Like, yeah, I have to take a crap. How can I do this with a personal growth edge?
Because it totally relates to that. Yeah, I'm like, huh, what is how this withholding things going and
Yeah.
how I feel about like edges of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
and
Okay,
how's it?
well, great. So do you have any suggestions for how we can integrate some of the stuff we got from this last week with Sophia Jean?
I have no idea what it was.
Oh yeah, maybe just do the 180s and then after that, then we like select a new character suit that we want find of service in our future versions of us. So
Yeah.
one of them for me was like an attuned director. If I was an attuned director, how would that show up throughout my life? And could I create these containers like these ones here, or like direct movie scenes of my life, one after the other, that's in service of this arc?
So you thought you were a victim to the somebody else's director?
No, it just wasn't as much my focus.
Okay, so you're saying how do I direct these things? You know the
Yeah, every calendar item is like a scene, and it like builds up to this giant arc of my entire life.
every director has an idea about what it is that he wants to be creating. You just don't pull it out of your ass.
Yeah, no, totally. Exactly what
So
I'm saying. So there's like some hero's journey arc, and that's what I'm like recruiting now, like in the X-Men or the Avengers. They had like this recruiting scene where they go out or Ocean's 11 and they like invite
what's
people.
the carrot?
Well, in this case, I mean, saving humanity or all conscious
Oh
creatures.
God, Jesus! That's been going so well for 6,000 years. Yeah. Okay, well,
Hey
how's
guys,
it
it's
going?
fun. What else is there? Come on. Yeah.
I'm not on board to save humanity or whatever those other two were. I'm here because I have an obligation.
obligation. You how do you self-impose an obligation? What?
I don't know. I don't have to know. I don't need to understand. I can just dance.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, you be more you, and I'll be more me, and that'll be great.
Okay.
I'm curious how I can bring out in some productive way because I'm not very in tune to why it would be productive, but being messier, lamer, stupider. That's my opposite thing that I don't want to be.
Well, that was it's designed to like loosen your character suit, so you didn't feel as addicted to needing to play your primary character suit. And then once you loosen it, then you choose something that's something like more intentional that you would want. But you take that first step as like having that in the background.
I'm
I
just
mean,
too
this
good.
is all contents from your stuff too originally, so I'm interested in your take on this too.
Hmm?
I'm interested in your take on this too, personally.
Take on what? On what you did this weekend? I wasn't there.
What Reed asked.
So in dojo, the idea is to have the life you want to have. So there are people who go in and they're choosing which direction they want to go in. There's other people who come in who want to explore what it is to be human. All right. So with both of those, with the choosing the life that you want, the theory is that your primal character suit is keeping you from doing certain things. And, it's not like you're trying to learn to, salt shaker easier. You can do that. It's the things that you can't do. How does Alton get a pair of hairy testicles? Yeah. Of his own.
Okay. Thank you.
And there's, it's just that he's like, oh, I want to be, and so then his character suit, his character suit is like, I must be quiet, I must be nice, I must be polite, I must not possibly offend any of the potential authority figures in the room with me. That's his training. And so we're going to point him, we're going to look at that character suit, and he's going to say, but this is who I am. And I'm going to say, no, that's not who you are, that's who your character is. And so he wants to become more ballsy. And so it's like, okay, what does that look like in your culture? And so it's like, da, 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 da. And so we point him at creating exercises like that. That's loosening the fit of the primary character suit so that you're not self-identified with it. Now the other ones, the exploring, it's the same mechanic. You're looking for the points in your personal character where it's incredibly narrow. Natasha has to show up like a mouse. Right? The goofy smile on her face, she has to do that. She doesn't have a choice. When she comes on a Zoom call, she's going to put on something frumpy. And she's going to smile. She's not going to say much. She's not going to get loud. She's not going to get vulgar. This is not Natasha. This is Natasha's suit. Now, if she wants to explore being bigger, then she can write down or it's usually easier if you ask other people. She's going to, where are those one-to-one correspondences in who I am? Those are the easiest places.
Curious if you have any advice on how to operationalize the idea of becoming less intellectual.
Well, I would imagine that the opposite would be becoming more emotional. It's not about the not. It's about the what you're doing instead. So right now, you're doing intellectual. You're trying to figure something out. Sit down on the floor and cry about how you're trapped in your personality. That could be a start.
Oh, he was what? Okay.
Remember, guys, if you're trying to change, it's not about not doing the things. That's not it. Then you're just in an arm wrestling match with your primal character, and it will eventually win. The idea is to put something different in its place. You know, Natasha's like, fine, I'm wearing a bikini every goddamn Zoom call I ever get on. And they're going to get progressively smaller.
Okay. Yeah, those were intended to prime the pump to then try on what more we do want to try on, and I think that went well.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Actually implementing the different things. The difficulty is that most of these one-to-one correspondences in your meaning making were created back when you were a child. And so the new things often don't have a lot of vocabulary sophistication. So you have to get over that bump.
Yep. That's definitely what we did a lot of.
So my character suit is Clark Kent, very quiet and hidden.
Mm-hmm.
How do I be more seen?
No. He's not hidden. He shows up as Clark Kent. We can all see you. Okay? So it's not about how not to do Clark Kent. It's how to do, pick somebody. It's easier if you look at a character outside of yourself and say, I'm going to be that person. Maybe not in the food choices, but in the dress choices or the emotionality. And so Norman's going to come on. He's going to change his tag. And it's going to be like, blah, 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 blah. And he's going to say, how would that person be on this call? Not how is Norman going to be on this call? Everybody's here doing a variety of themselves, maybe half a standard deviation. The point is to step out of it. That's the practice, into something else. Like at the end of a call, Norman, you usually get very flexible. And so you could be like 5 minutes before the call saying, fuck this bullshit about showing up like that at the last 15 minutes. I'm going to show up like that at the beginning. And you do whatever freaking exercises you need to do, or dress however you want to dress, or do whatever you do so that you're in character by the time the Zoom call starts.
How do I avoid falling into the any sort of social interaction seems naturally very involved with language to talk to each other, communicate, and language naturally wants to become mental, it feels like.
Yeah, but so that's true. But how do you, instead of going intellectual verbal, go emotional verbal?
It's like wine.
You could whine, you could do nothing, but you could say nothing but feeling statements. If that's you can go, or you can just you can say I hate you, or you can say I don't like it when you talk like that, or I don't know.
Just use one word emotions. I'm mad, sad, annoyed.
You're telling me how to talk about my feelings?
So what should happen then, Rian, is that your primal character is going to get really pissed off because it's not getting any of the coin that it's necessary for it to be in a social interaction. People don't think you're smart. You can't prove that you're smart. You can't prove that you have great diction. And you'll notice that. You'll sit there and say, I'm mad, I'm happy, I'm pissed off. Flaming hemorrhoid of an itch in my head, or I don't know. And you'll find yourself, you'll feel that meter rising. Alton gets more and more polite.
So the alternative would be assertive, as I see it, as a towards frame.
For you?
Yes.
Yeah, you'd be directing each of us. You would tell Jokin, put your goddamn arms down. That's ridiculous. Sit up. For God's sakes, give us some of that shit that you have. You know, you would look over at Natasha and say, Natasha, this is crap. Go change your wardrobe or get off the call.
And she's
Rian, oh, like changing your wardrobe is impossible because you're sick. No, it's not.
I
You're
don't want
looking-
to. It's
Oh, then you're fired. That's easy. The director, the actress doesn't do what the director wants her to do. She's fired.
we might have different directing styles here.
Oh,
I
God.
hear the invitation to try on a frame here.
Oh, great. We're going to do the polite Asian director, of which there are thousands out there making shit tons of money, making really killer movies, the polite ones. Mhm.
Direct me, Daddy.
I'm just gonna do the homework right now that you told me to look up other directors on this some reference stuff.
Yeah, heaven forbid that I do anything. Let me look something up.
I'm amused.
Yeah.
what are you eating, Norman?
Pickles.
Chicken.
Pickles.
Same thing.
Chicken.
See, you just did it, Rian. You just did it. You just did that snarky humor thing that you're well known for. You have
It's
no
fun.
idea of how hard this is going to be. And you'll find yourself running the comments. I could have said that. I could have said that. I could have said that. And you got to get that little bastard to sit down and shut his fucking mouth, which is going to be impossible. You're a slave to your history, Rian.
Come on, pickles and chicken being the same thing is funny.
You just did it again.
How do
What
you
was the
feel
impact of that, Rian?
Say what?
What was the impact of that joke, Rian?
in one
What
word
was the impact with
emotion?
it? I'm not taking directions from you, ex-girlfriend.
Oh, good. You broke up. That's good. Now you can have makeup sex. Yay.
I know, that comes later.
Well, this is news. Something's okay.
What? Get a better microphone.
Caught up on the script.
Huh?
I'm getting caught up on this script, and I'm gonna move my microphone closer.
I mean, Alton, look at the evidence. Jokin is doing Jokin. Natasha's doing Natasha. Cray's doing Cray. Norman's doing Norman. Rian's doing Rian. And Alton's doing Alton. It's extremely difficult. This is worse than heroin.
This is really hard. I
Oh,
don't-
shut up. Quit
It is.
whining.
Fuck, it is
Quit
hard.
whining.
Ah,
Natasha, I want to see your baby dragon burp on Craig.
Gee, thanks for the consent, Norman.
I think he'd enjoy it.
Oh, good. I think he'd enjoy being raped by that football team. Hey, football team, come over here. I think he's going to like this. Thank you, Norman.
Craig, would you like to get burped on by Natasha?
I don't think she's capable. Maybe.
is that a yes? If
Burp
I am,
away. Go ahead. Do whatever you want. If my head's going to explode or something.
if it comes to me,
If it comes to
Maybe.
me. Yay.
I chose Homer Simpson as one of my characters to practice.
I'm sorry, I may not be able to do it. I'm sick, you know. Yes, I'm not feeding my baby or taking my children to school when I'm sick because I just feel so bad.
Hmm.
Uh,
Mm,
I wish this was fun.
Same.
Yeah. You should have been at Alton. You should have been at frickin' hang last night. That was a happening thing.
Are there any particular suspects that you found dynamics worked very well?
Oh, geez, there was. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think there was 3 or 4 insane feminines, and then there were 4 ado masks that were actually listening, which is pretty unusual. And so it was like, and the feminines were like stepping into their, okay, we got to lead. These ado masks have no idea of where they're going or what the possibilities are, so we actually have to lead.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it was this very dynamic.
Yeah, I got present to the medicine ceremony in the past week how much I want to create platforms for these women like Sophia Jean and JJ or OCJ to create more of their content in the world. As I have it and resonate with what you shared around how they are, or adult feminines are the ones that are going to lead and shape a lot of the future.
Yep.
And that will take a lot of chi to orient around and to support that.
Were your parents movie buffs or chefs, Rosemary?
Movie buffs. My dad.
That's a hell of a name to live up to. If your father was a movie buff, that is a hell of a name.
What is
Live
Rosie
up to.
J? Or
Rosemary. Rosemary's Baby? Never mind.
I know that movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're going to give birth to the Antichrist. Great.
Oh,
Yeah. I definitely feel like I have the Antichrist in me. I definitely feel like I am like very have a lot of light and dark.
Okay. So why all of a sudden is she the most interesting square in this meeting, huh? Not so much what she said, but what she owning. Granted, there are the weird people who are like, "Ooh, I'm gonna talk to the cult leader there," but it's like she's actually outing something that usually people don't out. We haven't heard any of you guys say anything about your darkness.
Didn't seem relevant.
Sure. What? What'd you say, Rian? Did you say something intellectual?
Yeah.
Stop it.
mm,
What are you going to do with your darkness, Rosemary?
Compassion.
No, it's come on. Don't fall into the Judeo-Christian bullshit that dark is bad.
Yeah, let me try it. Let me try to answer.
Don't try.
Yoda.
Send you back to Yoda camp. Don't do it, Rian. Don't do it. Oh no, she's going internal. She's closing her eyes.
There's so much adrenaline. There's so much adrenaline being
Yeah,
here.
so what?
Yeah, I want to use my darkness to pull people out of their darkness. I want to be like, yes.
Rian, do you have your room set up? I mean, sorry, Alton, do you have your room set up?
or
6 of them.
breakout rooms?
Yes.
I want to have my darkness pulled out.
So first, Rosemary, if you're ever doing this, the ones who volunteer, don't do them. Don't do them.
Reverse
Alright.
psychology wins again.
Yeah.
You,
Shut up,
yeah.
dude.
It's also an inside job. It's like,
Rosemary, you now have a chance to choose one of these people, go into a breakout room. Nobody, it won't be broadcast. Nobody knows what's going on in there. And you get to see how you do about pulling somebody else's darkness up.
I want to know if there's someone here who's interested in being changed by witnessing me.
Witnessing you do what?
Be me.
Natasha, are you too sick?
I'll do it.
So
I'm
no,
interested.
Rosemary, I don't know if you know Natasha, but she runs with the mouse archetype.
I know Natasha.
Okay,
Natasha
okay. So
finds
just
it very easy and
shut
rudimentary to
up,
be
Rian.
changed.
Shut
by
up. Shut up, Rian. Good
it's me.
God.
Why are we here?
Rosemary, you're here to see if you can stir something in Natasha. Go to her room, please.
Everything stirs something in Natasha.
What you want to?
Yes,
Let's go to room 1. Wait, no.
Oh, she's gonna go to room 1. Let's see what happens. Rosemary, take a chance. See if you can get her to commit suicide.
What?
Okay, there we go. Bye.
Ugh. She disgusts me more than you do, Rian. Her character.
Today, I agree.
Hey, Alton.
Ray, I wonder what directors do on their days off, or like how they can integrate when they're like pretty compromised, maybe immune system or something.
What?
Still pretty feeling like pretty spent from this last week.
Wham. Okay, so you're spent. You have a small child that's crying and needs to be fed. Are you going to say, oh, sorry, you don't get fed today because daddy's tired? No, you're going to pull your shorts up and you're going to go get the little monster something to eat. You're here for 2 hours. Your head is not going to explode. Stop making freaking excuses. Man up and get the job done.
Okay, the job being to recruit into practice as director of.
No, you start practicing doing what I just did, being the director.
I see. Oh yeah, that was really good. You invited
Not that
one of my
hard.
friends to invite the other friend to commit suicide. That's certainly a director move. It's
Yeah.
in the context of acting.
Yep. We want Natasha coming back saying she terrified me.
Mhm.
I wish I could scrub my mind of the images that she put in there. Now with Norman, it would be just the opposite. You want people coming back saying how much in love with him and what a light angel he is. La 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 la. Yeah. That's the sissy version.
What about me?
We still have to get back into your emotional reality. You're pretty useless till then.
I don't feel disconnected from it.
Yeah, I know, but nobody else knows what's going on. Socialness, people feel that they understand what's going on with you and you don't have to hold it all inside. And you've learned that it's not about spewing everything all the time, being authentic. There's a dance going on. There's rules of engagement going on. Oh no, not Christina. Norman, have you met Christina?
No, but I saw her show up briefly and I liked the character that I saw.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Oh, God.
Hello again,
Oh,
Christina.
Norman. Oh, Rian.
Is there too much Asian energy for you on screen, Cray?
There's no Asians here.
Imagine, Rian, that you can.
No. Christina, take him to a room.
Why?
Because you're gonna try doing some of your stuff. And in my world, Rian is fragile. Okay. If you succeed, I don't want him doing it on the Facebook feed. That's just me. And you can ignore my request.
I'm invulnerable.
See how much she loves.
Fine, do whatever you want. I don't care.
Okay, if there's a room, I will go in it.
Rian, are you up for that?
I'm up for whatever.
Alton can.
Okay, let's do room 3.
Room 3. Bye. For all of you out in Facebook land, incredibly insane things are happening in these breakout rooms. What happens in the breakout room stays in the breakout room. Look, there's all of you out there watching now. You could be in a room with Jochen or Norman. I don't know why, but you could choose Alton too. You could let your furry freak flag fly. No.
It'd be fun to see Alton directing in a furry suit.
What furry suit would you put him in?
I want him in a T-Rex where his arms are like
Jesus Christ.
this.
That's better than a chipmunk.
Okay, now you people, you go over there. Somebody, I got an itch on my nose.
I want to see him roar when he
Oh, yeah.
tiny hand.
Roar, roar.
What would a under-resourced T-Rex director look like?
Pitiful. Sitting down, probably have his tail wrapped around him, little crocodile tears. Want somebody to take care of?
I would appreciate a Cray in a mouse costume for like 5 minutes.
A mouse costume?
Yeah, that'd be like a growth challenge.
He's just showed up right now.
Hi, Jochen.
No, it's not.
Tasha, is that
very
you?
Not very convincing yet. It's like
That's okay.
it's going in the right direction, but like
Thank you. I appreciate your directiveness.
have you ever smiled like this kind of mouse smile in the last couple of years, Cray? Yeah, it's like that already looked a bit better.
Sorrowful mouse. Yeah. Let's put on mouse costumes. That's going to save the world.
Similarly, I was thinking of like Alton in like more like a wolf furry kind of suit. Like maybe not werewolf, but like wolf.
Hmm.
And at least the hair is already in that direction.
With big hairy balls.
Well, I don't know if they make costumes with that detail, but like, yeah, why
Custom.
not?
Bespoke. Dragging on the carpet. Yes.
What would you have to do, Norman, to awaken his balls? That's a really interesting question.
I would choke you and see how long it takes for you to fight back.
That could work. I just like going unconscious when they do
When you said you, did you, because I didn't look at the screen, Norman, did you mean Alton or Cray? I mean, would you choke Alton or
You.
would you choke,
You.
oh, me?
No, him.
it.
Him being,
Alton.
because like somehow I imagine like if I were to choke Alton, he would rather let that
Right.
happen than if I were to choke Cray. But you know, that's just in my imagination.
Yeah, that was how I originally interpreted it. Was I would feel more protective and immediately defend, like wanting to protect someone else's.
I think your connection also has COVID, Alton.
And we'll bring the microphone even closer.
No, it's not the mic.
We'll
It's
take
like
it.
at least on my end, it was some like
It
robo
lagged
voice.
for like 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Wow.
This is so weird. There's something like cute about Sick Alton. I don't know what it is. It's like
Soft.
it's like a different energy that I'm like pulled into that I usually don't feel towards you in this way. Even your eyes look different.
But in terms of dark moments, crazy, like an hour and a half ago, while I was out on the streets, I had a moment where I really wanted to hit on a car with my fist. Is that the kind of darkness you want to see come out, or what type of darkness are we talking about?
For you? Yeah. For you, it's the. I think it's the your darkness will be moving forward with large emotion.
Oh, I like in that moment I was like I was had the impulse to yell at the driver. That like I don't know if how much larger it gets for me. Like
Yeah, well, that would be my
Like-
point. Is that
like
not
atom bomb dropping emotion.
no, not fire. Fire is too easy for you. How do you move forward through lust, through greed, through avarice? You got to remember, dark is not. We tend to think of dark as a color. It's not. It's the thou shalt not. You're sort of like Rian, but he's more serrated. Like we can see you laugh. I imagine that if push came to shove, we could see you angry, but to actually taste you as it's moving through you, I don't think that happens very often. Like watching you eat, I would love to watch you eat with passion. Like watching you walk with passion. How do you fold laundry with passion?
Speaking to Norman.
Hmm?
You're speaking to Norman.
No, Norman can do passion at a drop of a hat, I think. I don't know whether he brings his brain along with him, but
Brainless passion. Mm.
no, it's easier though. Does that make sense, Jochen?
It does, and I'm working on it. Like this,
Like Natasha's working on being not a mouse. Okay. Okay. Is that the shirt that the passionate man wears on a Zoom call? Is that the place where the passionate man sits for a Zoom call?
it's the place where the man sits whose husband is playing video games in the other room.
It's a big room. Look around the room. Is there a better place for the passionate man to sit?
Without headphones.
Hmm?
Yeah, no, like at least this is for me the most comfortable place to sit and like be able.
It rarely has anything to do with being comfortable.
And be able to not be distracted by other things.
All right. Are these the topics that the passionate man would talk about?
Yeah, topic I talked earlier about with my husband is that one of his friends will very soon likely die from cancer, and he is pretty upset about it. And
I hear no passion in your voice. Okay. Now that looks like you have it looks like you have a lot of passion about what's going down. But it's not my place.
indeed, it is not my place.
That's a lie.
No, like
That is he's your husband, for fuck's sake. He's your husband, and he okay, it's your life.
With him, it is my place to go into whatever is going on. And if he were on this call, I might feel differently, but he is not. And
I believe that a man of your intelligence could speak to the passion without naming your husband or the friend or any of that. But you could talk in a passionate way about what you think is happening, because it looks like it's very alive in you.
yeah,
And you could say, you're the last one left, Alton. Would you go into a breakout room with me and I'll give you the meta of this? We'll do it for 3 minutes and then we'll come back. Cray will sit there and look like an idiot. You could.
I could, but I think the challenge is more to face why I'm not doing it with you. Because yeah, like I've not yet felt particularly inclined to go there with you.
I don't feel particularly inclined to sit down next to any of those black people or Spanish people or Arabs. I'm I'm just not inclined. I'm not a racist. I'm just not inclined to get anywhere near where one of them might touch me. This is the difficulty. This is the problem with, the authentic people. You're trying on a different character suit. You're trying something different. Of course, it's not going to feel natural. Of course, your primal character is going to feed you all kinds of what to you are very rational reasons not to step out of character. That's why you got to use your forebrain.
You didn't listen, or maybe you didn't want to listen. I said with you, Cray.
I know.
Yeah, but that's not the rational part of my character telling me anything.
Then why are you doing what it's telling you to do? If it was telling you to do something absurd, you wouldn't do it. It's telling you don't do this with Cray, and you're believing it. That's what I mean by rational. Mute yourself, Christina. Jesus, those other persons. Not your visual, you silly ninny. You're pleasant to look at. Instead of some weird sea creature. Yes, Christina? The way that you're stroking your face seems to imply that you had a good time.
Very much so.
Good.
I'm gonna head out.
Okay. Nice. She can be so good when she wants to be. Jochen. All you have to do is text me and say, I want to talk to you. And I will say, on my dime, no problem.
But that's my point, Cray. The way that I experience you, I won't text you.
Well, it's fine. Your primal character is saying, don't you dare talk to him. He's dangerous, and whatever. He's a threat. He's something. He won't do what you want him to do. He won't be the thing you want him to be in the face of what you want to do. Yep, you're right.
And I guess there's no point in me trying to even explain anything to you because you already know all the answers.
No, I don't. I pretend
But
to.
pretend you do, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And it is both annoying and amusing at the same time.
Hey, you're like Alton. I don't want to ask somebody just to go have sex with me just to prove I can have. I'm like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen, Alton? Is your head actually going to explode when you try something new and different? Jochen, I really don't care whether you talk to me. I'm using you as a demonstration of you actually just saying, fine, I'll talk to you for 5 minutes. And you call up and you do the thing, and that's a terrible disappointment. I don't do anything that you wanted me to. And look, you chose to do something against what your primal character wanted you to do. That's the point.
I mean, we're talking right here. I don't have to call you. We're talking right now.
Yep. About those passionate things. Yes. About the things that you don't want to talk to me about. Yep, we're doing that.
Yeah, I heard it was a gracious offer from Cray to know feeling that you're in a different environment, and I imagine you have much greater access to your passion in that one-on-one environment.
I'm happy to try it, but I don't think it's the environment in terms of either live stream or other people being on the call.
That's why I suggested we do it not here.
Yeah, I think
Craig, do you want to go in a breakout room?
Am I allowed to, Alton?
Oh, I see. That's an interesting question because
Mr. Director.
Yes.
I dare you. No, God damn it, Alton.
Go for 3 minutes and then you'll be right back here.
Okay, send him and me to a room and pull us out in 3 minutes. It's all on you, Alton.
Right.
He's a very efficient director.
Room 5. I've assigned you guys.
And action.
Same timer.
Got nice color grading on Alton.
Thanks. Movie of life. Any outcomes from your session training with Christina?
Certainly outcomes, though notably not really linguistic ones.
A great start. That's where a lot of this works. Much beyond the words.
Well, left without as clear a standard for success as I might like, but can't always get one what wants.
Understanding is the booby prize. If you got what you wanted to make up, you'd just be more addicted to the character you already are.
What does being attuned mean to you?
What does being attuned mean? There's a sensation that's present when you're listening with all of yourself, and moments feel especially pregnant with possibility when everything else falls away and all there is presence. There's no like you acting, there's no being or doing anything.
Interesting that you would direct from such a state or seek to.
There's no like seeking from this state either. Those words were language from this past Alton.
The only Alton that exists.
I mean, to everyone else's projections, yeah. Well, that's not now.
Unsure how to remain experiencing of emotion, but also present.
Where did Craig go?
We
We
scared him
killed
away.
him.
What?
What Alton said.
What did Alton say?
Another room.
We scared him away.
What did Alton say?
Another room.
We scared him away.
Deja vu.
We'll be back in about 18 seconds.
Hello, Allison.
Hello.
We'll be back in about 18 seconds.
I'm gonna die.
If you say so, Jochen.
I do.
Yes, Allison? If you say so, Jochen.
I do.
I heard
Yes, Allison?
I heard that we are talking about what to do in low resource, and I thought that's
Yes, Allison?
I heard
Who's-
that we are talking about what to do in low.
Alton? Who's doing that?
Alton, who's doing that?
Ali and Rian, I don't imagine it's intentional. All of it.
Rosemary, you okay?
Yes.
What? What? Natasha's still alive, damn it.
You
Oh,
would
Miss.
cheer in glee if you saw Natasha in a pool of her own blood.
It depends how big the pool of blood was.
Can't be that much.
You just couldn't help yourself, could you, Reed?
I couldn't.
Yep.
It was primal.
Good to see you again, Allison. What's
wonder-
next, Rosemary?
I wonder if we know that we're on the same team.
What difference would it make?
I think that it would change the way my body shows up to this space because I feel less soft than I would like to be with all of you and more like a sense of needing to put my dick on. Like to be in a more masculine power in order to be like on the field with all of you, but it's not really the way I want to show up to this space.
Are you at choice?
Yeah, and it's also, and my choice is to call in my desire for my own softness
Mhm.
and femininity, and also it's not just me, it's also like our space.
I don't understand.
I'm
You
with
get
you.
to you get to choose how you want to show up in any space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you want to show up as feminine, fine.
I'm choosing to show up with the question. Do we know we're on the same team?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Don't know that I agree with Cray.
I'm a little bit more pejorative, Rosemary. I've been known to be very feminine at times, but mostly on these calls, I don't find that I am. And so I'm like, bring whatever you want. We're all on the same team. We're all here. Nobody's doing anything. Do whatever you want. If you know, I'm much more interested in people bringing things that they want to bring, rather than either coercing or asking. That's my read on it.
A lot of what I enjoy bringing is cooperation.
Yeah, I notice when I interpret like bringing something, I'm like, okay, like a potluck. And then honestly, I'm like, I don't want to bring a dish. I just want to be the dish.
Well, then be the dish.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I just did in the other
All
room.
right. Yeah, in the other room. Now, here you are.
Yeah.
You can be whatever you want to be.
I want us all to know that we're on the same team.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Even if I tell you that, you can't know that I believe it. You can get everybody saying, yes, everybody raise your right hand if you believe we're all on the same team. We all raise our right hand. You have no idea whether we're telling you the truth. None. None.
I'm thinking, Rosemary, if you all want to be on the same team, you can be on Team Cray, and then I think maybe if everyone else is on Team Cray, we can all be on Team Cray. How about that?
There's a little bit of your anger leaking out, yo.
Anger welcome.
Yeah, I'm not shaming
Yeah.
him. I'm just naming it.
Yeah.
Anger welcome. Mice are not welcome. Ah.
I'm still figuring out how to play with you, Cray. I'm
Do
like
whatever the fuck you want.
oh, okay.
Anything. I don't care. My head's not going to explode.
Very interested.
What do you want to create? Given who I am, you don't know me from anybody. Given the pixels, given your experience, what do you want to create?
I want to hold your hand and cry on your shoulder.
No, I don't want you to do that. I hate that.
Thank you for your no.
You're welcome. Thank you for thanking me for my no.
I don't get the sense of sincerity from you, Cray, that I would have liked to have seen from that.
Oh, I'm
Seems
so
like you are-
sorry that I don't fit into your monoculture. I'll try to skew myself around so that you get the experience you want instead of me having the experience I want.
It was at least a little inconsistent with something you said 3-4 minutes earlier, Cray.
Or less.
Like, I want you to show up exactly the way you want to show up. Oh, I want to cry on your shoulder. No, I don't want that.
She did. She showed up how she wanted to show up. And guess what? I got to show up how I wanted to show up.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
And I'm continuing to do so.
There was something you said that was interesting to me, and when you said you can show up any way you want to, but doesn't it isn't how we show up like innately produced by us in the environment, not just us in a vacuum?
Yeah, yes, Rian, God, great philosophy. There's a container, there's a history. We can't show up speaking Urdu if we don't know it. Yes, Rian, you can trot out all of these philosophical truisms and kill the flavor of the dance. Go ahead.
Thank you for welcoming me to do that.
And you can be sarcastic as hell. Great.
Following in your lead, you've inspired me.
Oh, God. Now you're fish slapping. Isn't that one? I dare you, Rosemary. I freaking dare you.
I'm very in my heart now, my adrenaline subsiding. I still don't fully understand dojo space. And I want to.
Go with your gut. Stop trying to understand it. Go with your gut. Go with what's real for you in this moment. Stop trying to find the safe place.
I very much want to be at peace with my most recent life choice.
Yay. Okay.
Boring.
Yep. Being at peace with it. Gee, I wonder what you'd have to do to get there. Maybe you'd have to own it. Maybe, yeah, that right there. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Well, yeah, that, oh, Lord. Whatever you want to tear into little pieces, whatever you want to feel the life's blood, pumping into your mouth, when you see that thing die, yeah, that's a good way of being at peace with it, is owning what actually is happening.
I chose myself. I chose.
What other choice do you have?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck off. Jesus Christ.
Don't leave me. I feel like if I'm not interesting, you're gonna leave me.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
What? Why would you do that?
Because you're not
But
interesting.
why do I need to be interesting all the time?
Because it's a transactional it's a transactional thing. If you don't show up holding enough coin, I'm going to go someplace where there's more coin to be had.
I don't want to pillage you.
Oh, pillage me! I'm so afraid. Oh, for fuck's sake! Jesus Christ!
Oh my god.
But it's also such an empty threat, Cray. I mean, at least for the next 50 minutes, you'll be here.
Yep. I'll talk to somebody else. I'll listen. I'll turn the music up in my headphones.
Would you dare that?
Hmm?
To turn on music?
It's already on.
Well,
There were periods where
that
remember you
explains
were
something,
having people
okay.
talk while Cray had his like fingers in his ears, or like took the headphones off. I'm like, that's really sweet. He's setting really clear boundaries. It's beautiful.
I have beautiful flugelhorn in my ears to temper the thudding of your music. So I can look at you and I'm hearing exquisitely beautiful music. So my desire to puke my brains out.
Rosemary,
That's quite a statement, Cray.
I love that. I think that's so wise.
a moment ago, Rosemary, you said, why do I have to like, I don't know what words you said, but basically like, why do I have to bring something,
Be interesting.
Yeah, why did it be interesting? Cray didn't say you had to be interesting, right? He just said that he would leave if you weren't.
If she wants me to engage with her, she has to be interesting by my standards. Unless she's paying me a shit ton of money, which then it's about the money and not her.
But why do you need Cray to be interested in you?
Because I've got the biggest
is-
balls.
Cray
I've got
is
the
very
biggest
interested in me.
balls in the room.
I'm not
According to
denying that he is
Rosemary-
interested in you.
According to
sounded like-
Rosemary, she's not asking that question about anybody else.
That's true.
Right?
Mhm.
Now
Mhm.
she's sitting there and she's like, I could admit this. I could admit what's happening, but no, I'm too wounded about my life choices. Yeah, what's going on right now, Rosemary? Anybody who can read, that right there. Does that look familiar, Allison?
Yep. I feel like I'm watching a conversation from my past.
Yep.
Yes, that's great. Tell me everything about the next assignment.
Well, I can see the ways that you are seeking attention from Cray, and I feel like I can remember being in that space of wanting to do something interesting to get his attention. Is
So
it
what-
satiating you? Are you getting value from it? Or is the dance filling you?
I think I'll only be satisfied if I lick Cray's wound so much that I single-handedly heal him of all his pain.
Yeah, that's what's lighting you up. Your desire to be the healer. Fuck off, Rosemary.
I don't blame you
Really?
for saying that.
Seriously, why do you lie like that?
I did not find that convincing at all.
Why lie like that?
You think that was a lie?
Your answer had nothing
Yeah.
to do with what I asked, though.
Yeah.
You're making bids for his attention, and I'm asking, are you satiated by what you're getting in return?
No.
Allison, may I?
Yes, please.
Do you like what you're tasting, Rosemary? Not as she's satiated. There's not a feminine on the planet that's going to, in the way I understand the planet, that's ever going to be satiated. But does she like the flavor of it?
I like being abused. And that's what I get from being in this space.
Okay, so may I, Rosemary?
Yes, you may.
Step out of your historical understanding of it and see if you can pretend that this is consensual and that it's calling forth a part of you that the abuse buried.
Yeah, that's
Don't interpret it through her lenses. Say, when I was a girl, this would have been abusive. But I'm a woman now, and what he's doing is calling forth something that I buried because of the abuse. What is it that he's calling forth?
probably my backbone.
So one of the things I do, Rosemary, is I typically show up as bad daddy, but I don't traumatize, hopefully. I don't follow through with it. And so you have a chance to interact with somebody who's fitting a pattern from your history, and you get to choose how to be with it as an adult rather than a little girl.
What brings you here, Allison, these days?
I came onto this call because I heard the topic was what to do when low resource and how do I want to be about life if I'm going to be low resource for the rest of my life. And I thought that sounded interesting and I was looking forward to discussing.
I notice a great deal of sadness imagining you low resourced for the rest of your life.
My question was going to be more towards Alton, and he mentioned that he's low resourced, and my question to him or to Cray would be, why would one continue? To me, the feeling of being low resource is like a call from the body to turn the attention inwards back to oneself. And I wonder what would be the motivation or drive behind continuing to output into the world from this place of being low resourced at all? Like, why wouldn't you just stop? And it's like life's telling you, hey, you have to stop and take care of yourself. And why wouldn't you do that? So I guess that question's for Alton.
It was more important to me to be this clearing and to offer this space. And hearing you say that, I'm like, oh, well, I guess I've already accomplished that. I could just hang out for 40 minutes and lay down and maybe nap, and then I could join at the very end. And that would still meet that same need. So
for me, the low resource isn't your body telling you that it can be, but typically what it is for me, it's reality telling you to take a different POV. So instead of having to mass produce, cars, it's time to practice slowly carving wood. It just looks like it's low resource because you're used to coming from this high resource place. And all of a sudden, it's like, when you get older, believe me, when you get older, this happens, okay? All of a sudden, I can't be 30 years old anymore. Now, I can interpret where I am now as being less than when I was 30, or I can look at it and say, oh, it's just different now. I have to move at a different pace. I can't go, 42 hours without sleep. It's only lower resourced in comparison to something else. And so right now, I'm 65. I can't do a lot of the shit I used to. So, and I went through the thing of saying, oh, God damn it. Oh, this sucks. A lot of places in my life. Life is very different than it was 20 or 30 years ago. But I'm not going to fall into what I think is a trap of thinking that my life now is less than what it was 30 years ago.
Sure.
And I have differentially, what does it called? I don't know.
Does it feel better then?
It feels better in a lot of ways. And I do miss the things that I had when I was 30 that I'm never going to have again. I got a hip replacement, and the surgeon says, "Are you a sporting person?" I said, "No, I'm not very sporty at all." He says, "Okay, I'm going to give you the hip, and I highly encourage you no high impact sports." And so I'm probably never going to run another step in my life unless there's a bear chasing
Hmm. Yeah, I can see that being really relaxing.
But it's also frustrating because it's like it's like the peaks and the valleys aren't there anymore. You know, I used to do a lot of crazy shit. Can't do it anymore. The cost is just way too high.
Be able to do. What are things that you used to be able to do that you actively want to do now that you can't?
Looking at the ladies, there's no surge anymore. God, I wish I had that surge back.
Because it makes you feel alive, or why?
No, because it's like taking a piano key out. You have 87 other keys there, but just there's that space where that one used to be. I can't eat like I used to. I can't exercise like I used to. I can only work out in the garden for an hour at a time now. And if I'm not careful, I will disable myself for the next day. I used to dig line on fighting forest fires for 32 hours. And then I would take a nap and be up and okay, let's go again. Intellect isn't there as it used to be. There's a ton of things that I used to. Yeah. Back in the days, I could drop 10 pounds in a week. Now I'm lucky if I can drop 10 pounds in a year. There's so many things that were who I thought I was. And because I'm getting older and the body's doing what it's doing, I now have to redefine who I am. Or I can stay trapped in bitterness and I can't do what I used to do. And
is there new crazy shit you're looking forward to, or?
Oh, I'm having new crazy shit, believe me. I do this thing called Hang. If you had been in Hang last night and seen the people that were there and doing the things they were doing, yeah, I couldn't have done that 30 years ago. No way. I would have lasted 10 minutes. Right now, I'm sitting with Rosemary doing what she's doing there, and then Allison doing what she's doing there, much louder than anything you guys are doing. And I'm maintaining. I'm not freaking out. I'm not running for the hills.
How do I increase my volume?
Of what?
Whatever it is that they're doing more loudly than we are.
You have to be able to name the thing that you're going to be changing. What is Rosemary doing now that you're not? You don't know, but given the pixels, what do you think she's doing?
Trying less to contrive something to impress you with?
No, to me, there's something that's happening in her that she's like, I can accept this. She's not fighting. She doesn't look like she's actively fighting anything. She's not holding any experience down. It's like, no, you can't be here. She's much, and to me, she shows up as much in an experiential human way. She's showing up as much wider than you are. She's probably the widest one here. So people tend to narrow their allowed experiences based on history and trauma, blah, 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 blah. So you practice getting wider in your acceptance of, everybody gets, using IFS language, every one of your parts gets to sit at the table. And you can tell them that if they don't behave, they're going to leave the table. But every single part of you, every single feeling, every emotion, every experience, they all get to sit at your table. No one gets to be banished. That's a hard thing for a lot of people to do. I was serially sexually abused when I was a kid. The kid that got pleasure from that was years in the making. Letting that kid sit at the table, that was a hard thing to do. The one that wanted to kill my father, yeah, that was an easy one. Everybody, every single one of your parts gets a place at the table. And you, as the leader, get to put constraints on what they get to do, if anything.
Cray, when you shared about all the things that you used to be able to do that you can't do now, what I heard was mostly things that one could argue are not really kind of like, shall we say, burning the candle from both ends anyways, like things that were never really sustainable, like some of your habits that you talk about, doing something for a really long time and then taking a nap and then doing it again, or like eating foods that really aren't good for you in the long run anyways. And I wonder, like, I don't know what my question is.
Oh man, I'm tensing. I'm like, oh, you're gonna skewer me good. I'm looking forward to this.
It's like, why? It sounds something like I used to just really overdo everything, and now my body won't let me overdo everything anymore. And so life is like, now I'm having to look for other things to do other than just burning myself out. That's kind of what I'm hearing.
I used to have interests. I used to read a lot. I used to watch movies, TV. And because of where I am, it's too painful these days. Is that what you're looking for? It seems like that there's a subject area that I'm not talking about that you want me to talk about.
Well, I'm trying to look for, I'm looking into your experience and my own experience. There's something my mind's trying to conceptualize that I can't totally figure out. Like as I, in the last few months, have gone through, I mean, and as a Olympic athlete, of course, I can't do many things that I used to be able to do when I was training for. And that's kind of the thing with being an athlete. And this kind of like, oh, you peak at a young age or something, and then your life is kind of downhill after that. And I'm really trying to reframe and find balance so that my life is not on a slide like this. And so I guess that's kind of where my curiosity is coming from as I'm trying to make these shifts in myself to figure out how to level out the slide. So, or even feel like it goes like this, like how can I use.
So, I used to be the EMT, the 7-miler. I used to run 7 miles at lunch. The EMT god. Okay, I could do EMTs like nobody's business. La 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 la. And now I'm like, I'm no longer doing those things. That level of searching for peak experiences isn't what I'm trying to do anymore. I'm not trying for peak experiences. I'm trying to have more of an easeful life.
Exactly.
And so, right. So I am switching from being an adrenaline junkie, a strange shit junkie, I'll try any food, any anywhere on the planet. I gotta travel. I gotta see new things. Gotta be with new kinds of people. So that was it. Now I want it to be easy. I want there not to be a lot of highs and lows. I don't want there to be a lot of drama. There used to be a ton of drama in my life. And so I had to redefine, I had to take myself it's not like I'm going from one sport to another sport. I'm giving up sports.
Right. Right. It's like extreme used to be your barometer of good.
Yep.
How extreme could you be? How extreme could each experience be? And if that's your barometer, then life is like this.
Yep.
Your system can't handle extreme. What age did you start going through this?
50.
50. Yeah, I'm only 34, but I feel like that has already That's already happening. That feels like the season I'm in, actually. And yeah, I appreciate getting to talk to people who've gone through it and just learn more about what brings them meaning, how they get from this to this.
It's really hard to make choices from not that space. It's like you were Catholic your whole life, and now all of a sudden you're not Catholic. What do you do on your Sundays? You know, how do you make choices from that place that has no vocabulary?
Right. Yeah,
I'm learning about gardening.
Is that bringing you joy?
It's beginning to. It's like a new taste. I don't know if it will ever bring me the same thing that it brings Jane. I mean, Jane can go out there and it's communion central. There's God present here now. You know, and for me, it's like, this is a plant, and is it one that I need to rip out by the roots, or is it something that I need to pay attention to? So there's a bit of it happening. There's a little bit of communication happening. And so it's like, it's still in that place where I'm trying a new cuisine, and I haven't really developed the taste buds to appreciate it or to condemn it. I'm still trying to educate myself into how to be the new person.
Right. I'm noticing that if the purpose isn't to experience extreme highs and extreme lows, like if my range is actually narrowing and I'm more trending towards avoiding situations where I think I might really spike my nervous system or really spike my adrenaline. Because I mean, over the last 6 months, my system simply hit a total intolerance for that.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that though there's a sensitization happening, that feels like there's something really beautiful there, in the possibility that there's more of actually available in the slow and in the than I would have had the sort of frame to notice before, when I was just all about like extreme experiences.
Right. So when you're at the choice point, how do you pick the directionality if it isn't about extremes? That's where the taste difference happens. Because let's just say you're going into a museum. The old you would have been trying to look at the most beautiful or the most ugly. Okay? But now it's like, oh, I'm going to try to find textures, or I'm going to try to find emotionality, or I'm going to try to find something. But it's not just the avoidance of these things. It's about how do you develop another set of taste buds.
Yes. Yes, that's something I feel really interested in. Do you have any I'm sort of stuck because I can see myself from the outside looking in, and I see that I still am making choices that produce certain chemicals in my brain.
Yep.
And I'm trying to figure out how to get myself, I don't know if this is the right phrase.
So try to find, do searches on slow living and let it branch from there. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to find people's descriptions of nuances that are not available to you that pique your interest.
Right. And in the past, what's worked for me in terms of, let's say, like letting go of bad habits is never been to force myself to cease and desist something, be like, all right, I'm going to quit this thing that's not good for me, and just force myself to quit. I've always found more success with training myself, like, or telling myself, like, focus on other things that you think are better for you, that you hope continue to find more interesting, and eventually you'll lose interest in this thing that you think isn't good for you.
Yeah.
But some of the habits in my life that's not working for, and I'm finding myself still choosing things that I know are just like producing chemicals in my brain, but that are sort of burning out my system. Like something really simple, like staying up till late at night in the bed with your phone, and you know that's fucking sleep, but you do it anyways. Okay,
that's great. What's the alternative? You can't say, oh, I'm not going to use my phone. That's not going to work. You have to do something else. When you're in bed, and normally you'd be reaching for the phone, reach for something else.
Yeah, I am trying. I put booksell around my house. I put a book in the bathroom so I don't go on my phone in the bathroom, and I have another book on my nightstand, and I have another book in my
And is that working? No.
like if I'm trying to get to here, I'm getting to here. So not really. I like some
Right.
progress, but still just kind of.
So again, in the beginning, you want to find the things that tickle you in a good way.
Yeah.
The books that's a great idea. That's a, but it's like, it's not working. Maybe teddy bears, maybe sex toys,
Sure.
maybe, a bottle of booze everywhere. I mean, this is one of the coping skills I use for calls with Alton. I have my little snifter of good rum, and I sip at it for 2
So
hours.
is it just changing one's coping skill for another one?
Absolutely. What do you think? Well, what's the option? What's the other option? You can sit there in bed and go, okay, I'm wide awake and I'm going to be wide awake for 3 more hours. And this is going to suck, but I'm not doing any of the things that are bad for me. And now I have 2 hours and 55 minutes left to go. Oh, yay. Not a good idea.
Yeah. One question or prompt for myself I've been trying to use when I feel distracted away from that slow living and that like more contained nervous system and more sensitization in the present moment is trying to ask myself what gifts might be available to me in the present moment that I might miss if I'm scrolling or doing something else.
What's going to feel good?
Well, but the problem is I'm such a stupid human. I pick things that seem like they feel good now, but then don't actually feel good long term.
I know, but write it down. Don't just do it now. Write it down and look at it and think about it and write down the action and then write the 4-hour consequence, the 8-hour, the 16-hour consequence.
Sure.
If you can do that, I am fairly certain that you're going to say, oh, that's not a good choice. Allison, what feels good? What feels good? Again, not the things that are going to cause you to break out in hives or something, but see if you can spend 2 hours just doing things that feel good. Not that you think are good, not the things that you think are going to get you someplace, but just the things as an animal, as a human being with your history. Spend 2 hours a day feeling good.
I realize as you're saying that's where the disconnection point might be, because mentally I was looking for like framing these things I see myself doing as like wasting.
Stop it. You sound like your coach.
That's exactly.
What feels good?
Yeah, okay. I can work with that. That's really
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah.
Is your chance high?
Oh, thanks. I have a question for you, Cray.
What? Buy Bitcoin. That's the answer. Buy Bitcoin now. Or Solana. Or Tesla.
Nice.
Do you need to disclose any personal investments in those, Cray?
No. It's an opinion.
Okay. Good to
What do you
know.
want? Hi. Quick. Come on. Hurry up.
Yeah, my question is, how do you show up in a way that people will respect you? And some signifiers or torch frames for that would be confidently setting clear boundaries, communicating.
Well, slow down. Okay. There are very few cross-cultural ways of showing up that people are going to respect you. It depends on who you're in front of. I can show up in front of Allison and I can push pretty freaking hard. And because she comes from a background of being pushed, she's not going to take it personally. And because of that, I can articulate, she's going to go, okay, I can respect that. I can't do that with everybody. So I would, in order to answer your question, and it has to fit you. If you start speaking Urdu and nobody else speaks Urdu, they're not going to feel very respectful of you. Are you talking about North American cultural norms?
Yes.
Are you okay? So then what are you trying to sell about yourself? Are you trying to sell yourself as a sex bunny? Are you trying to sell yourself as a corporate merger? There's different, depending on the role that you're trying to set yourself up for, it's good. You're going to show up as respect, as eliciting respect in different ways.
I'd say integrity is pretty universal.
No, it's not. Not if you're amongst con men.
Yeah, I express the towards frame of respect, and I also want to express the away frame, like away from being someone that people feel that they can like push over, like being a pushover.
Well, the easiest thing is to push them first.
Is that necessarily, I don't see that necessarily as respectful.
There are ways to do it respectfully. I tend to push the edge of that. If you watch me in here, you'll see me pushing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you try to stay away from the power differential or the psychological differential, that helps. I mean, hi, the name is Craig Grimont, okay? Find me on Facebook, friend me, tell me you want the free hour, and I'll talk to you however you want to talk, and you can get way more detailed than you probably want to be on a live streaming, la, 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 la.
Yeah, I think it's navigating the balance between being assertive, but also demonstrating high EQ.
Yeah, and that depends. Look at the crowd. There's Rian, there's Nolan, there's Allison, there's Jochen, there's me. Okay, those are 5 different places. Those are 5 different dances you're probably going to be doing. If you're in a monoculture, EQ is easy because everybody's playing by the same rules. Jochen's from a different place, Rian's from a different place, Nolan's from a different place, Allison's from a different place. EQs are going to show up very differently. EQs with, I mean, this is a standard, prejudicial bullshit. EQs with men are going to show up very different than EQs between women.
From your perspective, how do you see like EQ amongst men versus women?
Very limited. Very limited. Between men, it's like, we fuck it, we kill it, or we ignore it. That's about it. We're a lot of the EQ with men is about how do you acknowledge the things that we're not supposed to be doing. It's like watching a really attractive woman go walking by, and you're like nudge, and they're like nudge back. And that's EQ for guys. We're not talking about the sensitive, new age, feminized, those things, okay? And so if you're a woman trying to display, I mean, again, it's so totally dependent upon where you're at. If you're a businesswoman and you're up in like upper echelons of middle management or upper management in a standard Western culture, that's a whole kettle of fish there. If you're hanging out with I mean, no insult intended. If you're hanging out with the people at Evergreen, that's a whole nother ball of wax. I don't think there's a simple.
Would like to recommend Kasia Urbaniak's work because this sounds like a very simple question in power dynamics. And that work and some subsequent exercises from it, which I'd be happy to do with you sometime if you'd like to practice, were what helped me feel like I got a grasp of how to navigate those situations and how to figure out what step to take in any given situation to adjust the power in a way that was attuned to the environment.
Yeah, I would love that. Can you write the name of that in the chat?
Sure.
Thanks.
There you go.
Great.
Yes, Ryan.
Right. I just got a bartending job and I am not very qualified for it. And so I am averse to jumping out of this new good job to pursue moving to like West Coast. However, I've been challenged that that's like, you know, like defeatist thinking, I guess. I'm not sure how to maintain my new push towards financial like non-recklessness. I'm not a very financially like responsible person by nature, while also not being scaredy cat of transitioning or just like jumping into deep ends or whatever.
So you're going from what to what?
Well, my goal had been to develop skills, and so that I have something to be like, oh, I actually do have skills as a bartender, and then go to California.
Yes.
However, the people that I have been talking to, like Alton, for example, were like, you don't need to do that. You can just show up and just walk into a company and just be like, hey, I got like stuff for you, and you should just pay me, and then expect them to do that. That sounds
Yeah.
wild.
That may work in his fairy tale land, but I'm like, if if I'm hiring you to be a bartender, I'm going to put you through some tests. And if you
Well,
if you
I
can't,
think he was thinking like just abandon the whole bartending shtick and just do what I bring the gifts that I already have to companies that are already there.
so I'm of the frame that you need to know what your nut is. Your nut is how much do you need to keep a roof over your head, food in your belly, and whatever whatever the bare minimum is. That's your nut. That's what you have to make them up. And so if you're going to go flying out to California, you best have 6 or 7 months of nut saved up. So whatever is going to cost for you to live for 6 months, then fine. Go. I was young. I did crazy adventures. I did absolutely incredibly stupid things, all in the in service of living the big life. I look back and I shudder at the things I used to do. And so I'm like, what's the downside to dropping everything and moving out to California and trying to find a bartending job? The worst thing that's going to happen is that you'll find a bar back job, which is brutal, and you can go to bartending school. I mean, if you really want to become a bartender, it's much better to be at a moderate to high-end bar than it is to be at a low-end bar. But you got to have some skills. You're not so young anymore, Ian. Your bounce back factor is less than it used to be. Norman, I can say, Norman, drive up to fucking Evergreen and hang out with SJ. That's not going to have anything blow up. And he's like, no, it's not going to have anything blow up. And I said, go do it. Yeah, it's 8 hours of driving. I said, shut up, move. Dropping everything that you're doing, moving to California on the, based on The Secret, the little book. Oh, I'm going to manifest it. I prefer to move someplace where I have some degree of safety, comfort. I have enough money in the bank so that, if I can't find a job for 6 months, I'm not going to end up under a bridge someplace.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. And it may not be a fear, but like it's, take 3 or 4 more months. Sit down, put your nose to the grindstone, put some money in the bank or in CDs or whatever it is, and go out there. Go out there as an adult. Don't go out there as a kid chasing a pipe dream. You can. Show up like you're like, okay, I'm here. This is what I have. This is the proof. This is how I'm showing up. Because how you show up is 90% of the game. I once, I once coached a guy. He's like, I want to bang an 8. You know, and he's like, this is what I want to do. And I said, this is really stupid, you know. He's like, I don't care. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to pay you to have me do this. And, you know, I'm saying, well, if you really want to bang an 8, just go to Montreal. It'll cost you $600. No, I want one from the wild. And so we went at it by saying, who do you have to be such that an 8 is going to say yes? You know? So whatever it is you want to be, wherever it is you want to be, go look in the mirror. Go look at how you're showing up. Is the 8 that you want, the 8 life that you want to have, is it going to pick you the way you look and act and dress now? The people that you want to be teaching, are they going to look at you as you show up now and say, oh, that's the teacher I want?
I'm curious what you want, if there's like some fundamental thing or something that feels really deep for you, Cray.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want human beings to survive.
I like that. I'm going to try and look at this type of practice and your behavior through that lens more.
Yeah, but you're missing a big point. Human survive is up here. There's a bunch of steps that you need. You can't start out in 1850 and say, I want a car that goes 500 miles an hour. You know, what are the steps that you need? What are the engineering things that you need to put into place before that can happen? First, you have to identify, why is it that you think the human beings aren't going to survive? Because they're self-identified with their primal characters. You know, that to me that's the answer to why there's all the shit in the world that there is. Because we're prisoners of our history and our meaning.
Yeah, I don't quite get that terminology, but I feel like I do see what you're doing through that lens.
I'm going to hurt you because of what your grandfather did to my grandfather. I'm going to marry Allison because I have love coming up. I'm going to kill Norman because I have hate coming up. Because of what was done to me. It's like, your emotions are going to come up. There's nothing you can do about that. Your thoughts are going to come up. There's nothing you can do about that. You do not have to do what they're telling you to do. Absolutely do not have to. The problem is that people believe that their emotions and their thoughts somehow are special because they're attached to this thing called I, and they need to act them out. They need to be authentic.
And Cray, what's the terrible future that you think that everyone executing their program will lead to? Like that will all
Look around. Look around.
It's obvious, but I'd love to hear from you more specifically. Like,
why would you fight a war if you didn't have to believe your emotions?
Right. Okay. So war and killing and
killing, raising children the way I'm going to beat you because I'm pissed off at you. Why would you do that? Why would you hide? Why would you believe? Why would you let shame tell you what to do?
But what do you think is the source point first, like initial contact to be made with somebody that's completely stuck in their program? Like from your experience as a coach, where
you have to meet them where they're at. That's the first thing. I hate Republicans. Oh, you hate Republicans. I hate Democrats. Oh, those immigrants are taking away our jobs. Arr.
But I
You
mean
know?
more on like a sort of bigger scale. How could we, collective we, kind of like
Practice that.
say again?
Practice that. It's easier to meet somebody where they're at first. Then you get to practice meeting yourself where you're at. Much more difficult. Much more difficult. Allison, you could meet any of these people where they're at. I'm fairly certain that you could, Nolan, Jochen, any of us here, that you could walk in and you can say, hi. And they would tell you something, and you'd be like, okay, let's go from there. Okay? That's not a skill that a lot of people have. And it's much easier to do it with somebody else. But then when you try to do it to yourself, where you have to say everybody gets a seat at the table. I don't care what your parents said about you. I don't care what you feel. I don't care what you think. Every one of you is sitting down at the table of self. No more running, no more hiding, no more being buried in the basement. If it's in there, it's okay. I may not choose to let it out and dance with other people. But it's okay.
But if you're describing this as a problem that's like urgent, I've heard you describe it as a problem that's
It
urgent.
is.
How can, as a collective, we go beyond just touching the people in our day-to-day lives?
That's all you can do.
And
It's
your theory,
infection. It's infection.
that's your theory about the physics,
Yep.
about spread.
Anybody can talk the talk. Everybody who's ever done a major hallucinogen has had the experience of, oh, we're all one.
Sure.
And then 15 minutes later, they're acting as if they aren't.
Right.
Anybody can have the experience. Anybody can talk the talk. But it's like actually dancing with it. When you're actually with somebody who you take out this horrible, like me, when I first started telling people I was serially abused sexually by my father and his friends, I was a sexual party favor. That was, Jesus Christ. That was so fucking hard to say. It was, and then it was so hard to say without it being a victim.
Yes. Yes.
You know? And so now it's like, yes, this happened to me. You know, your abuse at the hands of your trainers, that happened.
Yeah.
But it's yeah.
I used to feel differently when I said it. It would
Yeah.
come this wounded place, and I was looking for something, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
And I imagine, I don't know, do you, could you say more about that transformation of coming from originally the place when you used to speak about your abuse like that, coming from that wounded place, that traumatized
Yeah,
place?
I was taught that it was wrong, that it was bad, that it was a bad thing that happened to me. There are parts of it that I thoroughly enjoyed. You know, it was something that you had to keep hidden. And so the stuff happened, and I was taught to interpret it in a certain way. I was taught that I was the victim of the perpetrators. You know, granted, you know, there's adult-child relationships and that, but it's the come from. It's like, oh, they did do things to me. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't like. But the idea that I was a participant rather than a victim. The victim is power down. I'm not saying I was power up, but it's coming at it from a place of shit happens. I don't know. I worked hospice for a long time, and having the experience of somebody who is thankful that they're having a disease that's robbing them of years of their life. Because if it wasn't there, they wouldn't have had the stuff happen in their family that happened, the healing, the coming together. I've been with people who are thankful, as far as I can tell, as honestly as they can.
Meet people where they're at when they are quite insistent on maintaining their victim perpetrator landscape. Do you try to meet them at all, or do you just not?
Nothing's going to change until you meet them where they're at.
But do you do that, or do you avoid the interaction?
I don't buy into it, but I say, sounds like that was really horrible. That must have sucked.
Not for these calls, then, I imagine.
Yeah, Mr. Sarcasm.
So you do dance with someone who's stuck in victim
Well,
perpetrator. Meet them
if
where
I'm
they're at.
paid enough. I don't like socializing with them. Rian hasn't paid me enough to dance with them. I'm being respectful. I'm telling him I don't like that. Yeah. And he's got a shit ton invested in that. And he thinks I'm kind of smart. And so he knows the price that it's going to cost is that he's going to have to make an effort to stop doing that. When you look at relationships as being transactional, it's really weird. I don't have to be in a relationship with anybody. Why would I want to be in a relationship with somebody that's costing me more than it's giving me?
Ray, have you ever felt any kind of drive or desire to share these things you've learned or embodied ways of being, your coaching, like wider?
No.
You're content to stay focused on just the people you can reach.
I wouldn't say that. But the idea about sitting down and writing a book or I'm like, I believe I'm here till I'm 94. For whatever reasons. That's my belief. I got 29 more years. You know? And right now, the effort that it would cost me to actually sit down, I need a co-author. I need somebody who can, I don't know what it is.
You're
I
living
can
with
write.
several of them.
What?
You're living with two people who write frequently.
I write all the time. That's not, it has to be pithy, it has to be small, it has to be muggle digestible. There's a lot of things. I've been doing this a long time, Allison, and it's starting to bear fruit. It's not dojo itself, but people are beginning to do spin-offs. People are beginning to take the physics, what they understand about it, and they're starting to craft new kinds of vehicles. That's all I can ask for.
I really enjoyed hearing that. Last 20, 30 minutes. Yeah. Feel way closer.
SJ. Yeah, SJ is doing fucking.
Yeah. I had a great time at a retreat last weekend.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had a great time. I was hoping you'd have a horrible time.
Jochen told me his favorite thing about your thing that you do here, and then a few hours later, SJ came up and did it to me. And I was like, I can tell the lineage here.
She's very picky.
Great.
And she's, I've heard that you guys really ran her ragged, which I'm very thankful for.
She didn't let it show.
Of course not. She's holding the container. She can't show you that. She shouldn't show you that she's being run ragged. You need to feel safe. You need to feel like she has a lot of resources, that she's watching, that she's taking the temperature. It's the mark of a good facilitator. Is that you smiling, Allison?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I feel really excited about the way that like the physics of you describing it spreading, because I can see that as well in my own life and in other people's. I was really happy to hear that SJ hosted last weekend, and Oxios and I are going to co-host in November in Boulder, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, Jesus. Bless you. Boulder, the epicenter. That's where Dojo started.
I know. It's so sweet. I went to Mike and Alana's Shadow Play workshop a couple months ago, and he's like, it got created right here in this living room.
Yeah. Mike and Barina rented a space or got me assigned a space, and they put out the word that it was Intro to Dojo and said, you have 2 weeks to come up with something. Did a lot of work in their basement. That was fun. Back in the day.
I had a lot
Very
of
active.
I had a lot of conversations with people when I was there in April that would be like, Cray, that one guy from before who was like, and they would always describe some kind of disparate, random, one-off experience they had with you.
It's a very active tongue you have there, Nolan.
Thank you.
Not something you see much of. Oh, that is my alarm clock saying it's time for me to go. You're being superseded, Alted, so I don't even have to ask you for permission. Wow, what a great feeling! Breaking free of my chains of bondage to Alton. 6.5 more years, probably. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Cray.
Night.
Well, well.